What about you, Troy? What was it?
For about 20 years, since my wife and I have been doing our family vacations, we went to the Outer Banks, so I had a big old hat, just like my noggin, and I would buy a little lapel pin and stick on it each year. Usually just one pin, but if we do a second vacation, like last year when my son got married in the mountains, I got one at Maggie Valley. When I came back from Iraq, my wife gave me a little yellow ribbon one. But that's just a tradition that each year they know I have to go find a pen in one of those little stores, and my daughter actually will help me and say, Daddy, do you have a pen yet? How about this one? Do you have that one? And after 20 years, it's getting hard to find a pen. But that's just a souvenir that I try to get each year when we go on our vacation.
How many pens do you think you have now?
Probably 25, because we have been to Great Wolf Lodge a couple of times for my younger daughter's birthday. Since it's in the winter, it's hard to do a birthday thing. So I've gotten one for that. And like I said, I've got my yellow ribbon for coming back from Iraq. And just if we do a second vacation or something like that we go to often, I will get a second pen. But at least one a year. I have to get my pen. And even if it's the last day I'm struggling to find it, I'll get something. It usually pops up. So that's just a tradition. And when I go out onto the beach with my hat full of pens, it's something to see.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
This fisherman never, ever thought he would catch something like this. His morning crew with Rob and Liz, his radio.
Well, he was out in the Outer Banks, and as he was going down the canal with his fishing buddies, in the Outer Banks where the horses are. You know where the wild horses are? If you've ever been to the Outer Banks, chances are you've seen the wild horses. And it's quite the area, too, because it's all sand.
Yeah.
And there's like this whole subdivision in sand. Doesn't the Bible say you don't build your house on sinking sand?
Oh, no.
I'm just saying. But these wild horses through generations have been out there through storms and everything. They survive a lot. Anyway, there's this one foal that was in the canal. And here are the two parents of the horse that are like at the edge of the canal trying to coax, in horse language, I guess, the foal to come back to shore, but couldn't. No. So the fishermen are going down. They noticed what was going on. They called, the department and say, hey, there's something going on here with one of the horses.
Right.
So they call the guy who manages the horses on that part of the Outer Banks. And then the fishermen jumped into the water. I think the guy's name is Owen. He's from Asheville. So he's on a vacation, it looked like, with his fishing buddies. And they all were able to coax that horse all the way to the shore to be with his parents.
Because I don't see how the mom and dad horse would be able to get the foal. I mean, have to grab him by the nape of the neck, possibly, but I don't know if that's something that horses can do.
I think the bank there was just a little bit too tough to get into nicely. But they're able to help the foal. And so that's some fishing story they have.
I bet they do.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Evidently, most parents can get a little sick when they try to help their kids
physically
with their homework. And I don't know how long it's been since you've sat down with a child and tried to work out, especially math. Any of the STEM subjects at all can make a parent just feel physically ill.
Any of the what?
STEM. Science, technology, oh my goodness. Something in math. What is the E? Engineering.
There you go.
Engineering.
Okay.
I had to work it out in my head there. But yeah, anytime you sit down and try to help your kids with one of those, it can make you physically... I don't even know. What is Raspberry Pi? What is that?
Yeah, outside of something that Grandma, Jolene used to make. Yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, they did this study, and it's true. Physically, some parents are getting sick when they're helping their kids with that type of homework.
Well, even if you were good in math in school, that was one of your best subjects, the way that kids are learning today, completely different. Like if you have to show your work, what you do, when you show your work, it can be completely different how they arrive to the correct answer.
Oh, the Common Core stuff?
Right.
Come on.
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's not the way I learned it. Well, that's the way you have to teach it to me.
No wonder why parents get sick. And school's starting up here in 3 weeks.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
I'm not that big into pumpkin spice.
Me
My
either.
wife gets into it a little bit, but that's not until September. And then she might have like a scent of it around. But it's not like Uber, let's go get the latte. It's not that whatsoever. But now they're talking about, what is it, Nestle?
Yeah, Nestle is already really is getting the cookie dough out there. So there's a couple of different flavors. One is like a cinnamon thing. The other is definitely your pumpkin spice cookie dough. It's they're cookies, obviously, but they're pre-sliced, pre-packaged, all that good stuff, and it's like $3 or whatever. But
I mean, if that's your thing, more power to you. Enjoy it because it's going to come out in the middle of next month.
Yeah.
In the middle of August, then you'll have your cookie dough, so you can have your pumpkin spice cookies from Nestle.
Yeah.
I just think it's a little early.
I think
That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Right. Well, it makes me feel like hot almost when I think about pumpkin spice because it is a warm flavor and then it's, you're supposed to enjoy it in the fall. I'm in the South in the middle of August. That's not something I'm into.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
And here's the thing. When you win the Dollywood tickets for Get Out This Summer from His Radio, it's not a certain date that you have to go.
Right.
I mean, you have to use them in a certain time frame. But on a day like today when there's rain in the forecast, you don't have to worry about it. You go, hey, I'll go on a day where it's not going to rain to Dollywood because you won the tickets for Get Out This Summer from His Radio.
That's right. So maybe the weekend's looking better. You just hang on to those tickets till the weekend. Dollywood tickets for your family. So you go out this summer, and we're giving away these tickets all summer long, like Rob said. But when you get home from Dollywood and you're exhausted, go to the backyard and watch a movie because we have a backyard movie kit for you as well. Here's how you get in on it. Text the word outside to 800-447-7234.
HisRadio.com.
Yeah.
And tap on the My His Radio app.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Meyer is 5 years old, and he's unfortunately he was in the hospital in Arkansas, and he was bored. Kids getting treatment, you're just bored, you can't see your friends. And so his mom is there with him in the hospital room and said, okay, we got to figure out some ways for you not to be bored. So they got a bunch of sticky notes and they started making kind of art on the windows of his hospital room. One of those was just plainly a smiley face. So across the way, some doctors and nurses and some office people saw all these designs that they were making. They put their own sticky note design on their window. And so the two offices and rooms started talking back and forth to each other.
Through sticky notes.
Notes.
That's pretty awesome.
Right. I mean, he was making like the Minions. He was doing like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was just doing all kinds of designs with his mom. And so finally they got in contact with each other. It was some doctors and nurses across the way. They were making winky faces and things like that. Finally, Mom just knew what it was doing for her son, making him just so happy to see the next design that would show up on that window. She put up a sticky note, thank you, love Mom. And so that they have met with each other now, and Meyer is doing much better.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have to travel through. You said brain surgery?
Yeah, well,
brain cancer?
Cancer, right.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and so, yes, his latest treatments have shown that he's doing much better.
Good.
I know.
Good. With the help of those doctors and sticky notes.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
I had this friend on my Facebook feed that I saw. I was scrolling through, and then it captivated me because all it was a picture of a pizza box.
Okay.
And it was a generic one, too. It didn't have a brand on it. It wasn't Domino's or Hungry Howie's or Pizza Hut or anything like that. And then when I read the caption on it, I went, oh, it was delivered to the wrong place, and she was just trying to figure out who has this pizza box so I can at least call them and let them know, hey, this isn't really mine. Because the delivery person's like, well, I got to leave it somewhere.
And it had no name?
No name. All it said was pizza. It was just some nondescript box. It was generic. So they were trying to figure out, okay, it's not my pizza.
Right.
So who ordered this thing? Maybe I can track them down on Facebook. It's like, sorry, your pizza never got to you because it came here instead.
I got a box last week, and it was to my address. Somebody completely different, and it was full of clothes. And I had to go on social media and try to track the person down, and it ended up being a friend of a friend who it belonged to who lives nowhere near me. Nothing that looks like or sounds like my address.
It's crazy you're able to track it down.
I know. Well, it was just I had the person's first and last name, and I said, if y'all know this person,
okay.
And then I made the person kind of describe what was in the box, and she did, and so yeah, there you go. So we're trying to get those.
At least they remembered what they ordered.
I know, right? Well, and I wasn't looking at that specific, but I didn't say at all like what kind of company it came from or anything. So you had to know. Mm-hmm. So
you know it was really yours.
Exactly.
And that was the real person who did that. Yeah. I don't know if you ever had an order, delivered to you the wrong way or know a story of that, but be interesting to hear from you this morning.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Katie said, I didn't receive a package, but while I was pregnant with my son, I accidentally sent 3 boxes worth of baby supplies to her old address.
Oh, whoops.
You know how you don't change it when it's saved in whatever company you're dealing with?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what happened. But luckily, she was able to get in touch with the owners of the house, the old address, and get that stuff back.
Good. Well, I'm glad you got it, Katie. Jessica's here. She said it wasn't a package. It was actually a wrong text. What happened, Jessica?
A nice romantic text to my husband, but it went to my mother.
Uh-oh. All your lovey-dovey, kissy-kissy to your husband text went to Mom. How did she react?
She just laughed about it. She was like, oh, I never knew you felt that way about me. Thank you very much.
I love that your mom has a great sense of humor.
It was good. We all had a good laugh about it. It was fun.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
It is Arnold and his wife. They had lived beside an animal wildlife facility for several years. They enjoyed long strolls beside the pond for years.
It's a golden pond.
It is a golden pond. And one day, Arnold wasn't feeling very well. And so the folks that were working at the animal wildlife facility decided they wanted to help Arnold. He was
That was
starting
sweet of them to
It
help
really
Arnold
was.
like that.
He was starting to limp. He wasn't doing well. And so they reached out their hands and brought Arnold into the facility. Oh, Arnold's a goose, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
His wife didn't know where he went. She's searching high and low. Arnold, where are you, Arnold?
In the form of a quack, quack,
Sort of,
quack.
If that's what
If that's what goose do, or geese.
And so,
What do they do?
yeah.
Oh, okay. There we go.
And so
TJ will interpret
thank you.
the
wife looking
Yes.
for Arnold. So
Okay.
Arnold is having his little leg taken care of by the doctors and nurses at this animal wildlife
and he
facility.
told them.
Yeah. And his wife, we don't know her name. Arnold has not told us her name. She was looking for Arnold. She went to the facility, peered inside the door, realized he was there, and then started pecking on the glass, trying to get into the wildlife facility. And so what they did is they took Arnold and put his little bed as he recovered near the window so that his wife could talk to him. A love story for the ages.
What was their conversation like? I think it sounded like this.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Just moments ago, in case you just missed it, there was a story about 2 geese. One got hurt and then was brought to the vet at the zoo where they are. And so the spouse of the other geese or goose went to the window and tapped on the window with its beak, and they were, having conversation with each other, missing each other.
Missing. She missed him so much. She had to get a message to her Arnold.
So we needed dialogue on how they were talking to each other. Actually, TJ does pretty good goose.
Yeah, pretty good impression.
Okay, see? And he did a whole dialogue of what it would have sounded like if we were there witnessing the geese talking to
Yes,
each other.
reuniting.
Yeah, reuniting,
Yes.
so to say, at the window plane at the vet. And what did you have to say about that, Suzanne?
Y'all have lost your ever-loving mind. I know. I'm a pet lover and I love birds, and I got 8 birds of my own and Cellini, but I tell you, I just had to laugh at y'all, and I needed that at this moment.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Evidently, they're looking for a director of taco relations at McCormick.
That's so weird to me.
It sounds pretty interesting because when you get down to it, you need to be able to debate the ultimate conversation of taco topics. You need to be able to taste, test, and consult on inspirational and approachable taco recipes. Some kind of, McCormick's taco seasoning thing they're coming out with, and highlight the latest taco trends. You do that, you got a 4-month gig. You get paid anywhere between $25,000 and $100,000.
$100,000
Yeah.
for how long?
Part-time gig, 4 months.
4 months.
And you have until tomorrow night to actually
get your resume together and state your case
for this thing.
Could you talk about taco
No.
ingredients
No.
or relations or trends?
None of the above.
I don't even know what a taco trend is now. I like going to different restaurants that have like chicken tacos or fish tacos, and they not just the traditional.
Sounds like a trend.
Well, but it's been around for a little while, so I don't know.
What has been around for a little while? The taco? Taco's been around for a very long time.
For a long
You're
time.
very, very right.